transition is with us, and it's here to stay. Global economics, technological changes at the speed of light, and social values that are changing faster than any time in the past. To help guide you along your journey in this fast-changing life, the show with a purpose: to empower, to enlighten, to educate, and to entertain. The show that offers you a friend, a guide in the most transitional time in the history of the human race. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Steve Beaman.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to another wonderful edition of the Steve Beaman Show. I am Steve Beaman, here with my wonderful co-host, Carol Parisi, to take you on another journey down life, where we hope to empower you with words that can help solidify some of the thoughts you might already have, but to give you new ones if you need them. We are here on the U Week this week. As you know, we go through the alphabet several times, but we're on the U word because it's a uniformly unique show.
Oh, you did good. It's kind of unconventional, too.
Oh, we got three of them out. It's kind of hard to do that on this. So we are doing the show a little bit differently today. As you know, we have the Master Your World segment right now, and then we go into the Master Your Mind, Master Your Word, Master Your Money. But in this Master Your World segment, as Carol and I talked about it, where we a lot of times use an article I've maybe written and I kind of drive the topic, I thought I'd just let Carol drive the topic. And so I said to her in our pre-show warm-up, I said, okay, Carol, what's the one thing you think about when it comes to mastering your world? And you said...
Well, I'm a mom.
She said, take off the tin hat first.
I said, I'll take off my tin hat. I have a propensity, but hey, Steve, I'm concerned about genetically modified organisms. I'm concerned about Frankenfoods, GMOs.
Right. And here's what brought it up. We're talking about the world, and we obviously had the G20 summit a couple of weeks ago. We talked about that on last week's show. And then we had this week Monsanto, and they were making big news with merger talks, and we're seeing more and more of the big global corporations. So Carol and I thought we would kind of go through the pros and cons of global companies. This may be if you're married, like you sit around with your spouse and have these conversations, or if your kids listen to mom and dad. Here we go. So, Carol, I'm going to let you kind of drive the pro side of this or the con side. Take your pick.
Well, Steve, I'm concerned. I am concerned about GMOs. It's what you, like anything else, like our minds, what you put in your body, it comes out. Computer, garbage in, garbage out. Okay. We are divinely and uniquely made by our Creator. Why do we want to modify our genetics? Now, I get it. I get it. We have to feed the world, and I get it. But
you just answered your own question.
No, but can't we? Okay, what are we doing to these indigenous people?
We're feeding them so they don't starve to death.
What else? What else are we creating, though?
Well, okay, let's be real. And here, folks, you can join in on this because I know you're thinking the same things. We hear so much talk about genetically modified foods. 30 years ago, when you had a stalk of corn, it had 1 ear of corn per stalk. Mm-hmm. We've now learned to genetically modify the corn and to enhance it so you get 20 or 30 kind of heads of corn on each stalk. So we have 20 to 30 times the amount of food.
Uh-huh. And corn is
it's a foundational food.
Well, yes, it was a foundational food, but now it's a Frankenfood, and it's loaded with mycotoxins and things like that. I've stopped eating corn-based things for the most part.
I hear you, and I have a lot of friends who say the same things to me, whether it's in our water supplies where we put fluoride that's different than the fluoride we used to, or the GMOs. But I say this, if things are so bad about it, why are we living longer? Across the world, every country you survey has longer lives. We're healthier than we've ever been. If it's so bad, well, how can that be?
Don't we have more cases of cancer?
Yeah, because we live longer. We used to die at 65. You don't have a lot of time for cancer to play out. We live to 90 now, 95. I mean, I understand, and I think.
But what are we doing to?
I wish we had a call-in prayer. This is one of these I love to have the call because people hate me, right?
No, they don't. They might hate me. They might hate me because I might be talking. What are we doing to our environment? If we're going ahead and genetically modifying,
you sound like a Democrat.
Yeah, hey,
oh,
you know
wait, we're not a political show.
No,
okay.
we're not.
Love
I'm
you
very
too.
open-minded. I mean, I believe in taking care of being responsible environmentally.
About the environment, though. You go back to the 1970s with air pollution, which acid rain was real. We go back to water pollution, which was real, which was the start of the EPA and some of these things.
And it was effective then because
We have a much cleaner environment now
Right.
across the globe, except for nations like China
No
or
kidding.
India,
No kidding.
where they are completely government controlled. There's no free enterprise to solve it.
and they don't care. They do not have the same environmental protocols in place. But if you're creating genetically modified food and the cattle is eating it and the chickens are eating all this genetically through their urine and feces, through their waste materials is going into the ground. I mean, what are we doing? I read something about drugs. There was a drug manufacturing company and they kept on dumping
Yep.
some of
So when we drink our water, we get so much of these
Come
things.
on, man.
Okay, I have a
I mean,
couple points to make. And again, I'm the pragmatist in the world. I grew up in the business of the business. I spent time at Wharton Econometrics, where we used to consult with agribusiness, and all these big, bad agricultural companies were clients of mine. I
Okay.
sat in the meetings where they talked about crop yields and how they could enhance crop yields and how they could do things. It wasn't a big conspiracy.
this
It
was
was
not about mind control.
no, it was a bunch of people sitting around going, you know what? How do we make more food? Because we have more customers in Africa and Asia than we've ever had before. It's pretty simple stuff. I would suggest to people who don't like what we're doing that they send their kids to school to become biomechanical engineers and, geneticists and have them go work for the Monsantos and the Central Soyas and the Archer Daniels Midlands.
To figure out better
Instead
ways.
of just complaining about it, let's try to make it better.
You know what? And let's face it, not everybody can afford to go to certain grocery stores that sell organic and refuse to sell GMOs. I do read labels. Say no GMO, and I'm good with that. I've actually started eating a little more veg, and I love meat, and I'm not a vegetarian, but I've been eating more vegetarian because I think we need to have better ways of treating our cattle and our. He's rolling his eyes on
Carol
me right now
watches too
so
many
bad.
YouTube videos. It's an unbelievable.
But the way they
I've
treat
been to-
these
I have been to
animals.
slaughterhouses.
Oh my gosh.
You don't want to watch it. It's not
Oh
a
my
pleasant
gosh.
process. But do I really care? No, I like a steak.
But wait a second. That animal is under duress its whole life. How healthy do you think its meat is? Come on, Steve. Come on. Our thoughts are things. We profess thoughts are
So
things.
you're now suggesting to me cows have conscious thought.
You don't think distress puts a different
I don't think they know what's going on
genetic
their whole
and-
life, and then one day they get an electronic shock to the head and it kills them.
but I don't think they live in good I'm not talking that they got to live in like the high rise of the
I
cows.
will say this. The YouTube videos you see about a lot of the food places are overseas. They're not in the U.S.
Oh, thank you.
Because some of those, I agree, they're just
Oh,
flat
my-
inhuman. But no, those are outside
Inhumane,
the...
not inhuman. Inhumane.
Well,
Inhuman
either
is like,
way.
we don't want to. No, I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you.
I sound like Donald Trump. Inhuman.
It'll
But
be
anyway,
huge.
I get these are real issues, and this stuff, you got to stay up on. I've got a lot of people who've enlightened me about fluoride and how the fluoride we have today is different than what it was in the 60s. And, even Houston now is not fluoridating their water. So we do grow and think. But before we all get too negative and we get too much down the road of the big conspiracies, let's accept the fact we live a lot longer. We're healthier than we've ever been. All this food isn't a bad thing.
So would this be kind of the headline effect of agriculture, if you would?
It is. It's an easy one for people to say, that's terrible. I don't like them genetically modifying my food. It sounds like Frankenfood.
Yes.
They don't look at what it really does. We've got 9 billion people who are eating.
Well, and that's a good thing.
And
There's an
if you have a
upside
better
to
way
that.
to do it, if somebody can say, well, you know what? I can feed them without doing that. Great. God bless you. Go build a business.
But do we need it here? Do we need it here? I mean, how
What do
many?
you mean
how
need it here?
Well, do we need to genetically modify our own food here?
Yeah, because we export a ton of food around the world. If we close our borders to exports, do we make enough food for us? Yes. But what does that do?
Don't we
with-
dump a lot of food? I was told years ago by a friend, we throw away. We waste.
We have a wasteful society. We throw away more in our weekly trash than most people have in a year. I mean, we're very well off. We're the top of the hill. We're king of the mountain.
Okay, I recycle paper towel rolls.
All right. Well, okay.
I'm a recycler,
Kudos for
repurposer,
Carol.
and I.
And you know what? For
do
those of you who recycle, I'm not getting down there. I think it's a great idea. I get that.
I just think it's a responsible thing to do. And
I do.
hey, you know what? I do believe that we have to take care of our climate and our earth. I think it's a good thing.
I think all of us think that. I
responsible.
know some hardcore business guys in the steel industries and the coal industries, and they want nice environments
Good.
for their kids.
See, yes.
They get that. The question is, at what point do you regulate it out and put people out of work?
Well, now there you go.
And so there's an economic balance here, right?
I
I'm
hear
just telling
that
you,
too.
in the global corporations of the agribusiness world, there's a trade-off. Do you want all natural or do you want to feed people? Take your pick.
Well, I guess the good news is you could go to the grocery store and you have a choice because there's more and more organic food that is being shown in the grocery shelves than ever before.
And the better news is this segment's come to an end. Because when we come back, we get to talk about a good friend of mine, Mr. Dennis Waitley, and something he did called the psychology of winning.
Oh, I can't wait.
And that's exciting. So we are looking forward to teaching you 10 things that can help make you a winner in the life that you have ahead of you. This is the Steve Beaman Show, and this is Steve and Carol with you.
Hi friends, Carol Parisi here. If you're like me, you're always on the quest for improved sleep and more energy. I discovered the secret to getting this. It's tart cherries and their restorative powers. It's been found that tart cherry juice, like the Cherry Bundy brand, could help to relieve aches and pains, provide faster muscle recovery, and help you get a good night's sleep. The science shows that tart cherries and Cherry Bundy are rich in antioxidants that help reduce inflammation in the body. These antioxidants also work to reduce exercise-induced oxidative stress to help your body recover faster. Tart cherries also contain naturally occurring melatonin, known as a key ingredient to a good night's rest. To learn more about the science behind tart cherry juice, check out choosecherries.com. It's full of data from independent research studies. My favorite tart cherry juice brand is Cherry Bundy, which you could find at cherrybundy.com, spelled CHERIBUNDI.com. And tell them Steve and Carol sent you.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to a very unique edition of the Steve Beaman Show. I'm Steve Beaman here with Carol Parisi as we journey down this thing called life. And, you know, we had to enjoy that prior segment. Wait a minute, did we?
I don't know. When the host is like, oh, my goodness, I'm glad this is over.
What fun it is. And then we talked about this time, we get to have a really good time here in the Master Your Mind segment because now decades ago, I was introduced to something called the psychology of winning by Dennis Waitley.
Do you know my very first cassette program after I read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? My first cassette program was Seeds of Greatness by Dennis Waitley.
Well, I'll tell you, it's good stuff. I've had a chance to know Dennis and to have dinner with him and talk about his work. And if you've never gotten the psychology of winning, write Carol at Steve Beaman Show, and we'll find out how to get you a copy of this. The psychology of winning gives you 10 key attributes that a wide swath of, quote, winners have demonstrated, whether they're astronauts, athletes, entertainers. It is an unbelievably rich source of good ideas.
Do you have those memorized? Because I don't have any notes here on those 10 attributes.
I just know it's self-image, self-actualization, self-belief,
Let's
of that
break them
kind
down.
of stuff.
Emotionally, all of these things are important because this is the emotional path this week.
That's right.
So
we need to review, though, because there are 5 paths, right?
yes, Mr. Beaman.
So we have the intellectual path, which we've traveled, the spiritual path, which we did the last few weeks, the physical path, the emotional path, which we're on now for this and the next few shows, and then the financial path, which, like we said, we may hold that off because we do the master money anyway.
Okay, but Steve, here, the emotional path is anything. How do things work without emotion?
Not well, because emotion is oftentimes that which gives us the passion to live a better tomorrow than we had today.
Emotion sometimes put things in motion to get things. Oh, why not?
That's because Carol and I have this constant discussion about emotion versus logic. Right?
Steve is very, very logical.
I'm not all the way.
You're very, very logical.
I laugh. I smile.
We're totally yin and yang there. I probably am a little more emotional.
A
little more emotionally
You're
driven.
From Venus, I'm from Mars. But
It's
the
a good
psychology of winning gets into 10 attributes like self-esteem and self-actualization, self-visualization, things that we can do within ourselves to change the way we're thinking about the way we live.
So what is self-esteem? Let's go into a little bit of some of these
self-esteem
things
is
and how it
interesting, by the
goes
way.
with the the emotional payoff.
I've written a lot on self-esteem because we went through a thing in this country in the 90s where self-esteem was all. It was the everything with kids.
Don't tell your children no, it's going to hurt their
Right.
self-esteem,
And so
really.
there was a study that caught my eye back in the 90s about where the highest self-esteem is in the nation. And I'm a little off on a tangent here.
It's okay. No, it's still part of
Where
the...
do you think, in an aggregate group of people, who do you think had the highest self-esteem?
In an aggregate group of people, probably the lowest educated, probably farmers, people that just did stuff with their hands and just kept it real.
Criminals in Stateville Prison.
Oh, come on. You mentioned
No
this
joke.
once before. Okay.
It's unbelievable.
All right,
Well, here's what happened.
wait. How?
Because
oh my
they
gosh.
lived in a world where they could do no wrong. They were totally rationalized. They felt great about themselves. They just had no boundaries on their behavior. The point with that is self-esteem, when it's healthy, is a belief that we're capable of doing good things and we can achieve good things.
And why are we capable of doing these good things? And I'm kind of leading you into the spiritual path. How come? I believe we were...
Lead away, because I'm not going to take the bait.
Okay, I believe we were created for excellence.
And I do too.
believe that
I
we
don't
are
know that we were
created...
created for excellence. but we were
to
created.
honor and glorify our Creator.
Right.
We serve an excellent Creator. Why would we if we always have to do our best, and my best may be different than your best, but the thing is, self-esteem is as long as you do your best.
Then let's talk about where that fits, because I agree with you. Self-esteem in the context of a healthy overall thought process is good.
Yes.
Because we want to feel good about ourselves. Where it goes too far is feeling good about ourselves to the exclusion of everybody else.
Well, or comparing yourself. You know what?
And
Don't
that
compare
becomes
yourself to other
sociopathic.
people. You can't compare yourself to other people because there's only one you. A lot of people do that. Well, I'm not as skinny as she is, or, I can't believe that, whatever.
I think
Maybe women
you're
are
hitting
worse
on
with that.
something huge there. I think you are. Again, as a father of all these daughters, I get that girls constantly compare. And it is an absolute truism, and it's truth. And if you're listening right now, I want you to just dwell on this. You are, in fact, the best you'll ever be. I mean, in terms of uniqueness, you're the best you ever created.
No, I always know.
Not the best you'll ever be, but you're the best that was ever created.
You're the best that's ever created. But you could always work on yourself to make yourself better.
And we should. And the
our
psychology
show,
of winning is all about that.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly. That's enlightenment and that's self-actualization. That is deep. That is requiring peeling back and being totally honest with yourself.
And to be self-aware and to be aware of not just your strengths, but your weaknesses and the things you want to improve. I know where I have my problems. I
what
get
about
it.
self-discipline?
Self-discipline's one of them on there, and it's a huge thing because it's that ability to get up in the morning when nobody's looking and do what you don't want to do. We talked about tenacity, right?
Yeah, tenacity.
And the idea of getting up and doing something you don't want to do. Well, self-discipline is necessary to do that, whether you want to succeed in money, in relationships, in sports, in entertainment. Pick your discipline. You've got to have the self part in front of it.
Self-discipline is freedom. And a lot of times that may not make sense to you. Oh, you're putting me in this box that I got to work out every day or I can't eat this or whatever. No, it is freedom. And I'm going to say one thing. Running small businesses, if you go ahead and even being a mom, you do the tough stuff on the front end. You do the tough stuff on the front end and you grind through that tough stuff. When you're on the back end of that project, of that business, it gets easier.
Well,
it gets easier.
And I want to go even, Carol, further down what you said, because self-discipline, you say, is freedom. I tell you, self-discipline ties to self-reliance, self-responsibility, all of this healthy self-orientation that makes us a total person. We don't become victimized. We don't become entitled to another person's labors. We don't become expectational of another person doing for us because we learn to do it for ourselves.
Well, okay, now you just said something, and I do believe in self-reliance. But some people are so self-reliant in their minds that they don't reach out for help when they really do need help, too. You have to also know your limitations and say, you know what, I may not be able to lift this 50-pound rock in my garden. I may need to deploy somebody who's stronger. Some people will try and do it just because they're that stubborn, but
Carol,
that could be
I concede
stupid.
the point as much as it pains me. We've talked on this show before about how I come out of a world of complete self-dependence. I can do it on my own. I need nothing. I need nobody. But the reality is, in life, we all need people to talk to.
We need each other.
We need family. We need that kind of structure. And one of the transformations, the reason we want to do this show so bad for you listening to us now, is because we know the concept of family is changing. And you're not getting the kind of support out of family structures that we once did. There are these business consulting groups everywhere. There are coaching, like the Tech Group and all these things, Vistage. They're really cool. And what they're trying to do is replace for the business owner a sounding board that they used to get from their spouse. They don't get that anymore.
Well, because spouses are busy doing their own thing.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you're talking family. How many family members live out of state? In your immediate mind too.
People grow. And we're dealing now with the first generation really of divorce and how that affects both parents and kids. So there is this need to be self-reliant and self-disciplined to get to where you want to be as an individual, but also to recognize that as that self-reliant person, it's not bad to say, but in this area, I need help.
Well, and hence the psychology of winning, which is an outstanding, you know what?
I can't say enough about it. I've written articles about it. I've written Dennis about it. As I said, I've had dinner
How
with him.
exciting was it to meet Dennis Waitley? I love Dennis Waitley. I love
think
him.
It was both ways. I think Dennis was excited to meet me because of some of the things I've done, and he knows where I'm going in life. But he now preaches only in China. I've told you this. He won't talk in the U.S. anymore because nobody wants to hear him. It's really sad.
How come? How come you think Americans don't, as a whole? Why do you think
I think we're moving into a what would I call it? A weird entertainment culture of pop culture, of reality TV, of these things where there's no depth to the thought. And if you look at the psychology of winning, or a lot of these great works of attitude, they actually were deep. They required thought. And I think we're moving beyond that in our society, much to its own chagrin. I think it's going to hurt us in the long run.
We'll come back to it. I'm going to tell you why we will come back to it, because I believe during this time, like our opener says, we're in a time of a transition. We're in a time of, crisis is kind of about, it's turmoil. And nothing gets to people like psychology of personal development, because then they start developing that own intrinsic knowledge that they can be self-reliant.
There's so much to it. And again, if you think about what we're trying to do with you, we're kind of wanting that relationship with you where we're a life coach. We want to be there for you. And so what we're going to do to continue our march to be with you is we're going to look right here at the bottom of the hour at a brand new word. It's the U word. And it will be a uniformly unique and uplifting and...
You are unbelievable.
Thank you. I got there. So, well, thanks for joining us here on the Steve Beaman Show. A funny thing happened over the past years. Responsibility for retirement got shoved onto your back. IRAs, KIOs, 401ks, and all the other alphabet soup of investment options were thrown to you with the happy statement, you're now in charge of your own retirement. The problem is, money doesn't come with an instruction book. Well, here's the instruction book with no biases, no conflicts of interest, a pure purpose to promote and provide financial education. Welcome to the Society to Advance Financial Education, a 501c3 not-for-profit organization created and sustained to help you, real people in the real world. When you need a friend in finance, someone to explain things and make them understandable to you, you need SAFE. We have spoken to hundreds, thousands of people in transition, men and women dealing with retirement, college planning, divorce, death, transitions of all kinds, and we are there to help. Visit safefinancial.org on the web and become a member. Let our educational tools help you. Welcome back to the Steve Beaman Show. I'm Steve Beaman here with my wonderful co-host Carol Parisi as we enter the Master Your Words segment of our show. This is a time when we get to talk to you about one of these many words that is established over time to give you a better perspective. We do this every week, and we've been from A now through U. This is our U word. So, Carol, give us what you got. This is like my favorite part of the show.
Another empowering word. It's unstoppable. And I kind of Googled the word unstoppable, and there's a song by, I'm not Sia. Not like Sia, but Sia, and it's called Unstoppable. And we're going to be playing this song towards the end, so listen to it. But let me read these lyrics. I put my armor on, show you how strong I am. I put my armor on, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful, I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. How's that for some self-talk?
Took the wind right out of me. But I'll tell you, it's such a cool word because it's like we were tenacious last week, right? And to be tenaciously unstoppable, put them together, that's what drives people to great things. When you just won't accept that there's an end in front of you and you're not going to stop.
And you know what? That's a learned habit.
It's absolutely a learned habit.
Quitting is a learned habit.
It is.
Quitting and giving up is a learned habit.
And I'm old-fashioned and I'm aged here, so I'm going to.
Oh, will you stop already?
No, but
You're not
here's
that
why.
old.
You know what? Because I grew up
Yeah.
in a world where they said quitters never win and winners
never
quit.
quit.
I think if you said that, and today kids would look at you and go, "What are you, weird?" Or
I
they
did
just
say
think you're
that to
old.
my son once.
I know, they all think we're old, but it's a truism, right?
Right.
You don't quit. Now, the danger there is you're going down the wrong path, and you might, maybe you should have quit, but that happens.
But you know what?
And it's better to have tried and failed than never to have tried
It's
at
a
all.
learning experience. It's a learning experience. What I love about these quote unquote mistakes, and yes, we all make mistakes, and I love the song My Way.
Except in your words, it just said we win every game. I don't win every game.
Yeah, if you know what, you got to set your mindset right. I'm going to tell you why.
Here we go.
Here's the deal. If you take something and you make a quote unquote mistake, and if you learn from that mistake to never do that thing that goofed you up again, how valuable is that lesson? No, you keep making the same stupid mistake. That's the definition of insanity. Do what you always done, get what you always got.
You can see why you need to write Carol, because if you're in one of those lives where right now you're making mistakes and feeling pretty down on yourself, spend 5 minutes with her. You won't feel down on yourself, or maybe you will.
No, Steve. I mean, even,
Here's why I bring that up. Carol and I were coming in today, and in another part of my life, I made a mistake today.
It wasn't a mistake. You learned how to do something. You learned how not to do something.
It's back to this whole Thomas Edison. I learned 990 ways not to make an electric light bulb.
But didn't Edison?
That's why I said it. He learned how not to do it. And there is value to our lives. In fact, they've done studies with drugs where they can take away all your bad memories. One of the problems with that is we learn so much from our bad memories. That's part of our being. It's part of who we are.
I could see that in like trauma, crisis.
Well, that's why they're doing it for soldiers in post-traumatic stress. The problem is they can't discriminate that this is a good bad memory to lose and this is a bad memory to lose.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we were talking today too, and I was talking about where I grew up, and it was very,
unique.
Unique, yes. Oh, yeah, great. You were.
I throw those in every now and then.
And, we all need our experiences to make us who we are.
It is.
But if you keep experiencing things and keep experiencing them over and over again, you might want to take a deeper look at things.
That's the definition of insanity, right?
Yeah.
Keep doing the same thing, expect a different outcome. But I want to go back to the word unstoppable because everybody listening right now has some area of their life where they're thinking, I just didn't give it my all, or I don't give it my all.
Or I can't do this.
Sometimes you got to throw it out and just say, you know what, I'm going forward on this, and I'll deal with the consequences, win, lose, or draw. But it is better to have tried and failed than never to have tried at all.
You know what? I'm going to say something. You always have to look at what is the worst. Look at the worst. And I don't like looking at the worst case scenario, but a lot of times we refuse to step out and do things because of fear. And sometimes if you go ahead and look at the worst case scenario, say if this happens, this happens, this happens, and at the end of the day, I'm still here. So
somebody out there listening to us right now is contemplating starting a business, starting a family, doing whatever you're thinking about doing.
Buying a home.
And sometimes, well, that's a different one, Carol, because it's all about mastering your money. And we don't talk about that until the next segment.
Okay.
But no, as you're going through these transitions, you sometimes got to dive in full force. I've started, I don't know how many companies in my life. I've had winners, I've had losers. The losers hurt really bad.
Oh, yeah.
But the winners are better than you'd ever dream. So you kind of have to say, if I really believe in it, no person is going to stop me from achieving my dream.
Exactly. And that makes
and
you
become an unstoppable force. It goes to the heart of the boxers we love to see, the athletes we love to see. Bruce Springsteen, who's got a great story about being unstoppable in music.
Well, you know what it is, too? It's having that goal that's bigger than you. It's having that why, and with the emotion and the passion behind it that drives it. It's that why. And if your why is big enough, you're going to be unstoppable.
And let's never forget that Elvis Presley was driving a truck. until he made a record. And then he became an unstoppable force that changed everything. Hey, we got a lot going on the rest of the day, by the way. We're excited that when you come back with us, we're on Master Your Money. We're going to talk about the Uniform Gift to Minors Act here on the Steve Beaman Show. Enjoy this brief clip from our favorite song. We just finished tax time, and I know, like me, many of you are thinking, wow, this gets more complicated every year. I'm Steve Beaman, and my friends at Greeby & Associates have been helping individuals and successful businesses for over 20 years. In construction, they say measure twice and cut once. In accounting, trust me, research and plan before you act. When you need powerful tax and accounting advice for you or for your business, contact Greeby & Associates at 630-653-3510. Visit Greeby & Associates.
Now, back to the Steve Beaman Show for insight on your money and the nation's financial future.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Steve Beaman Show. We're on this show. We've had a very special show. We've talked about everything from genetically modified organisms in our food up into the 10 programs of the psychology of winning. And we had a great word at the bottom of the hour with unstoppable. And we are now unstoppably moved into the Master Your Money, where we're going to talk about our Uniform Gift to Minors Act, but more importantly, putting purpose to money. I do want to say thanks to our sponsors, the Society to Advance Financial Education, your 501c3 organization devoted to helping you build a better path to prosperity. You can reach them at safefinancial.org or through the Steve Beaman Show site. And our good friend John Greeby at 630-653-3510, who's there to provide accounting services to you. And I think it was last week we mentioned we have a couple of new sponsors coming on board. Very excited about it. One of them is called the Money Stop. They do credit card processing stuff. And the other one's called Job Formance, and they help people get jobs.
If you are a small business, please call us.
Absolutely.
Because the Money Stop is going to say the money, you know, the buck stops with you.
If you take credit card processing, you need to reach out to Steve at Steve Beaman Show or Steve at stevebeaman.com. They've really got some special programs for the small business community that take credit cards, and they're able to, if you're processing your credit card through a bank right now, especially, you need to reach out to me because we'll put them in touch with you, and I guarantee you can save some money.
Yep. That's bottom line. When you're an entrepreneur and you're a small business, it's bottom line.
And let the dollars take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
Hey, as we talked on this program, we were talking about this Uniform Gift to Minors Act, which is the ability we as parents have to donate money down to our kids. It's kind of nice.
Grandparents can do it too. Aunts and uncles too.
Yep, and you just have to be a first-line relative type thing.
Okay.
But what's cool about it, if you're at a point where your child's in college, for example, and they're trying to cut it on their own, and maybe you don't want to pay for it, but you want to kind of help them, it's kind of nice to be able to gift them a little money every year.
Well, wait a minute. Uniform Gift to Minors Act, doesn't that end at 18, or is that extend? You can help me on this one.
I believe you can pass it down. It's part of the whole family donation thing. You can charitably give to your family indefinitely. Okay, so I'm extrapolating out from the UGMA.
Okay, I do know because my former life, I worked at a bank and a savings and loan and opened accounts under the Illinois Uniform Gift to Minors Act.
I'm extrapolating out from the UGMA because this isn't under the Minors Act. This is just generally in terms of donating, giving charity money.
You could do $14,000 a year without a problem.
Absolutely.
But what I was going to say about the Uniform Gift to Minors Act, it's a great thing because you could give to your kids and it's under your child's social security number.
Right.
So whatever is in that account, the child will pay the taxes on.
And that's typically, not always, but typically a lower rate than we as parents pay.
Oh, yeah.
But this gets into something bigger, which is also this idea of putting purpose to money. We've talked a lot on this show that the Master Your Money concept isn't just about making money. It's about knowing what to do with money. And part of that is providing for our children, our parents in elder care years, other people where we might have need to provide something back. And this is one way that you can give back to your kids.
And if you're an uncle or an aunt, you could give. Now, it has to be family member.
It
can't be just.
No, but you can gift it to anybody.
Okay.
So you can do that. But it's the idea that as you're going through your money, and if you follow the path to prosperity and you listen to a Dave Ramsey or you listen to this show, you'll all of a sudden be out of debt. You're making your money grow. Before you know it, you'll have too much. You won't know what to do with it all. So what you want to do is you'd want to donate it down to your kids and to your grandkids. And your friends and, me, you.
Don't they say you want to spend as much money as you can? And
I don't know. I didn't grow up in that world. He would, what's the old thing? He who dies with the most toys wins.
yeah.
So.
I have a little bumper license plate thing in my closet room at home. It says, "She who dies with the most shoes wins." I swear.
Folks, you just got to just write her, Carol at stevebeaman.com. Discipline her for that one. That showed no self-discipline.
I bought that in the 80s. I had to have it.
That was the 80s,
It was
right?
the 80s.
It was Alex Keaton in the Wonder Years. Remember him?
No. What is the one? Was that
Alex Keaton? He was the
little brown-haired
Michael Fox.
kid?
No, it's Michael Fox played that character where he was like the sport coat-driven Republican kid in the family.
Oh goodness!
It was just the 80s when it
Growing Pains was that?
Maybe,
I don't know. I
but-
didn't even own a television in the 80s.
I'm sorry.
I didn't.
I
I lived on my
shouldn't have.
own, and I had a stereo, and it was all about music.
But this whole thing about, by the way, making purpose with your money comes up because we've talked a lot about elder care issues.
Yeah.
And there is a responsibility we all have as kind of in our prime earning years to look to what our parents are going to need.
Well, then we also need to look at what we're going to need so our kids don't have to be dependent on us, because I think
That's a great gift we can give our kids is to not be dependent. And hey, I want to mention real quick, if you've been invested in this market, in the 401ks and all that, you've seen all this volatility, don't be afraid of it, as what typically happens. We're in a long-term bull market here. It just drops down for 1% or 2%, then it comes right back up. That you can make money on that if you want, but in a long-term sense, don't worry about it. We're in a sound economic environment for stocks right now, I think. And yes, this will be a tumultuous year. And I wanted to dive into that just for a minute because everybody's scared watching markets go up and down.
Okay, question. Could you have Illinois Uniform Gift to Minors Act stock accounts?
I believe you can do anything with it. So
Okay.
yes, I believe you can
Okay,
do
so they can be
equity
in
plays.
stocks and
Yeah.
whatever.
I think you can. But the bigger thing, and I know a lot of you folks have 401ks and you're a little worried. There's talk of the Fed raising interest rates. There's all this talk of volatility. Morgan Stanley just came out and said they expect a 6% decline by the end of the year
What do you mean a 6% decline?
in the market, 6% drop. I always wonder, whenever Wall Street tells me that, I wonder if they're not shorting stocks or doing something to make it happen. I kind of wonder. But anyway,
That's a conspiracy
I'm a
theory.
little cynical of my friends on Wall Street sometimes. But
So again, how do you put purpose to your money, Steve?
well, I think we have to look outside ourselves and look to the fact that we are stewards of our money, not owners of our money. And that's a big concept. If you can wrap your arms around that, it makes you a much better person because you realize you're just here to monitor it and use it wisely for greater purpose.
Well, I like that. That's really cool.
I thought it was kind of a neat idea, too. In fact, we've talked about the laws of stewardship before, and I've written articles about that.
And we probably want to talk more about it in future shows.
And I bet you we will. So here's the deal. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap all this up for you and all the stuff we've talked about today here on the Steve Beaman Show with my co-host, Carol Parisi.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to this great edition of the Steve Beaman Show. This is your fastest hour in radio. Steve, this is another, it just went by too quickly.
This went by on so many dimensions, I couldn't keep track of it.
Well, we talked about GMOs.
We did. We talked about
Frankenfoods.
Frankenfoods coming out of the global corporations and the perspective that maybe it's the best alternative we have to feed 9 billion people.
I don't know.
We'll
Garbage
have to
in,
get a
garbage
glass of wine
out.
and talk about that for all night sometime.
I guess so.
But then we came back and talked about my favorite topic in the whole area of emotions, and that's the psychology of winning.
And I'm really excited because coming up the next couple of weeks, we're going to really dig deep. We're going to unpack this whole psychology of winning for you.
You don't want to miss this. It's so cool. Dennis did a great job laying this out. I think of all of the work that was done, this is the one that has the most meat.
I am so excited.
I
I
am
can't
too.
wait.
I
I
am
can't
too.
wait to unpack it and study it again and again and again.
I've
I love
written
it.
about it. I've studied. I've listened to it my whole life, and every time I'm excited to go back and rethink about it.
You know, I know whenever I listen to things and I listen to them a second or third time, I glean more from it, and it's a great thing. Even like our show. I hope our show is one of those shows you
We
listen to
archive
it.
them up on stevebeaman.com, so if you've missed the A through T, you can go up there and watch it. Hey, we talked about unstoppable as our word. And so this week, as we try to give you something to think about, last week it was to do something that you didn't want to do. Be
That's
tenacious.
a good one. Be tenacious.
This week, think about what in your life you haven't completed and seen through that you wish you had. because next time maybe you should be an unstoppable force.
You can be. You can be.
There's no question.
If you
about
think
that.
you can, you can.
So, and then the Master Your Money, we did talk about purpose to money. There's a lot there. We've got many more shows to do on that.
Well, that Illinois Uniform Gift to Minors Act, grandparents, parents, sign your kids up for this.
And by
It's
the way,
a great
if you're not
thing.
in Illinois, most states have similar things.
I'm sorry. That's habit.
No, I know, but we get out all over we're out. We're broadcast
True.
internationally. So
Uniform
if you're
Gift to
sitting in Germany
Minors
right now,
Act.
look for
Well,
yours.
does Germany have stuff like
I have
that?
no idea.
Okay,
My
well-
guess is they have something similar.
Well, but this is by the FDIC, so this would be definitely all over our nation here in America.
These are
so-
definitely programs you can enjoy. But next week, we're going to be on the letter V, and we're going to have for you a Victoria show.
Oh, very, very interesting.
That's a little redundant, but we'll allow it. It's a very virtuous concept.
Okay.
And we don't want you to miss that. We are going to continue, as we said, on
That's
the emotional path, studying Dennis Waitley's Psychology of Winning. We'll go through, there are two groups in that. There's 5 things that are internal to you and 5 things that are external. I think next week we'll pull the 5 internal things and we'll go through those in depth.
Yeah, because you know what? As within, so without. Once you get the inside figured out, the outside stuff kind of comes together a lot easier.
manages to.
If you get along with yourself, you'll get along with others better.
There you go. We do always want to thank Cherry Bundy, who, by the way, every time I hand it out, people get addicted to it. I know that I haven't been too good about sending out stuff to you guys, but Carol at stevebeaman.com. She can get it out to you. Everyone I know who I hand this stuff off to is addicted to it.
In a good way.
In a good
It's
way.
A healthy,
it's a healthy addiction.
It's a healthy
very,
addiction.
very good for you. So we want you to reach out and try some Cherry Bundy. Find it at your local grocer. Send us a note. We'll send you coupons. We'll send
If you don't find it at your local...
like a Walgreens. Go ask them why they
Ask them why they don't have it. Yeah.
Tell them Steve and Carol sent you, because we love Walgreens to know that Steve and Carol want that product in their stores.
It'd be beneficial to them. So
Be beneficial for everybody. We do want to thank our producer, Jim Thompson, who does such a wonderful job bringing this all together, playing the music we need, keeping us on track on the clocks. And again, safefinancial.org, your friend in financial services. It's a chance for you to really learn what you need to know to make money in these tumultuous, transitional, transactional markets.
Whoa.
That was last week.
That
Sorry.
was terrific.
That was last week. Well, let's go back to a T word.
That's undeniably terrific. There you
And
go.
John Grebe, of course, our accountant friend at 653-3510. Folks, it's a great time, and we've got new sponsors coming on. We got new content coming out next week. We got a whole bunch of new stuff you don't want to miss. So we want to make sure you're with us for the next series coming up on the emotional path. And as always, write us at steve@stevebeaman.com or carol@stevebeaman.com. And it is from our heart to your hearts that we send you our love, because this show is all about you. Be blessed. Have a wonderful week ahead. Godspeed to you, my dear friends.
Bye-bye.